Okay, guys, this is gonna be my post-game Penn State Minnesota recap. So Penn State had their first loss on the season as they dropped the game 31-26 at Minnesota. It was a tough loss for Penn State. I think that they showed some grit coming back and staying in the game, but at the end of the day, there were just so many mistakes that they made, and you go, they still almost had a chance to win the game. I don't really know how, but it was just mistake after mistake after mistake. And to me, I think a lot of things Penn State's been able to do in weeks past. Michigan got more yards than them, Iowa did, even Pitt did, and Penn State was able to capitalize off of good red zone defense and really good red zone offense. And today, that red zone offense was not there. It was questionable play calling, and it was just not good execution either. They left a lot of points on the board. Penn State got 520 yards. Minnesota only got 460, I think. So Penn State got outgained Minnesota, and they only have 26 points to show for it. And if you said Penn State gets 520 yards, how many points do they get? Most people say more than 26 points. But when you miss a 2-point conversion, when you have poor clock management before halftime, when you throw a pick to Hamler before half where you could have just got a field goal. At the end of the game, you come away with zero. When you have that fourth down and that stupid red zone fade play call, you come away with nothing. There's five right there. If it's a different result, even on half of them, Penn State wins the game probably by a touchdown. So I think that is a big factor. But overall, the offense moved the ball at will for most of the game. They didn't really stall up. Really, they only punted one time today. They moved the ball in the passing game. Penn State has trouble in the passing game. I'm like, yeah, they had a couple drops with shorter, but Hamler had a big day. Frymouth had a big day. Dotson had a big day. And Journey Brown ran the ball well. Clifford did not have a great game at times. He's got to play better in the beginning of games. He did not look good in the beginning of this game, and he missed a lot of throws, but he made some throws today. He looked fairly poised, but he did make a lot of mistakes at the same time. And Penn State defensively, that's where they lost the game, in my opinion. They just could not stop Minnesota and their passing attack, and that was the biggest problem, in my opinion. They could just not stop them. They could not cover, and that's the biggest problem. You go, well, they couldn't get pressure, but they were passing the ball at will. Like, these guys were wide open. You got to give Tanner Morgan credit, but what are these DBs doing? Meaning corners, I'm talking about. And I'm not surprised by this either, really, all too much. I'm surprised it was to this bad, to this magnitude, but I'm not surprised it happened because I've seen Penn State's defense crack a little bit this year, but by really good red zone defense, its numbers look a lot better scoring defense wise. Iowa moved the ball on them all right, not great, but Michigan moved the ball on them well, and so did Pitt fairly well. And both those offenses, maybe Michigan's offense is about the same as Minnesota, but today they got in a game with a good quarterback, with good receivers, and it bit them. It bit them in the ass, and that's the problem. I think that when you look at it, Penn State just did not cover well all game, and you saw that was a problem at the end of the game. In the game, where you just saw the defense just not make plays. I think the run defense was fine, and the linebackers played fine, but I think you saw it was just a product of poor game preparation, and I think this was kind of like the 2016 Pitt game a little bit, where Penn State came back, but the other team just looked like they wanted it a little bit more in the beginning of the game. It looked like it was a bigger deal to them. This was their Super Bowl for Minnesota. This was their biggest game, and they were ready to go. And I think Penn State looked a little bit sleepy early on in the game, and they didn't look like they kind of looked like they thought they had the game. And moving forward, this is not going to be easy. Penn State plays a fairly capable quarterback in Indiana next week. I don't know if it's quite as capable as it was now that Michael Penix is out, but if Minnesota's torching the Penn State secondary, what is Ohio State going to do? I know week to week it varies. I think this Penn State offense looked worse than it was early on because of the defense it's played, and I think the defense looked better for Penn State than it was because of the offense it's played. I think this offense is pretty good for Penn State. I know today it didn't cap off a lot of drives, but I still have confidence in it, and I think the defense, it's got to get better, and I honestly don't think it will, and I think they're in trouble against Ohio State. I know the season's still ahead of them. If they win against Ohio State, they got it going, assuming they beat Indiana and Rutgers, but I just don't know if they'll beat Ohio State. Penn State's got to let this game go, and they got to focus towards Indiana because Indiana is a dangerous team that can bite them, and I think they play a certain style that can give Penn State a game. But if you can get up on Indiana and deflate them early, I think they have a good shot at winning the game going away. And Indiana doesn't have a great defense either, so I think Penn State should be lucking out in that realm of the game. But that's my recap. Penn State just not being able to finish the game off. Well, not finishing the game off, just not being able to play situational football in the game. So that's my recap, guys. Peace out.